Yes, the title is true. I have beaten over 300 video games since 2020. Right around 2020, I decided that I was done with the live service games that I was playing. I was really big into Destiny. I was big into playing games like Counter-Strike, other multiplayer games, COD. Basically these games that you kind of just do the same thing over and over again, even though, yeah, you're playing with other players and, there is, different types of skill levels and you're getting better at the game. But I started to just feel nothing by playing those games. It's like I was just playing them just to play them. I wasn't getting anything out of them. So something I had always struggled with was finishing games. I remember there were so many games in my Steam library that I had either started or a couple games that I may have finished, but there was so many that I had started and just dropped. And it wasn't because the game wasn't fun. It's because I was just being lazy. And I know that sounds weird to say about gaming, because it's like, oh, gaming should be fun. You shouldn't have to feel like you're lazy when you're playing a game. But a game still requires an amount of effort to play them. So games like Counter-Strike, games like Call of Duty, these multiplayer games, you're so comfortable with them, even though, yeah, you're focusing on what you're doing, you know what to do for the most part. But when you're playing a new game, you're being introduced new systems to learn. You're in just a completely new environment. There's different controls, different genres that you're experiencing. And it does require a level of effort to learn these things and continue playing it because you're not familiar and you're not comfortable with these kind of games or this particular game. I know a ton of people who have not finished games like Red Dead Redemption 2. Which, that one, I completely understand. That is an extremely slow-paced, slice-of-life cowboy adventure with probably one of the most impactful stories I've ever experienced in a game. I've seen people not finish games like Death Stranding. That one I also kind of understand because that's just a long game about walking, delivering, connecting, making things more convenient to deliver, that kind of stuff. I understand that. Those are two games that I'm like, if you haven't finished those, I kind of give people a pass. Those are extreme, those are games you kind of have to dedicate yourself to. However, those particular games, I think, gave me so much more than what I gave to them. I don't know what I'm trying to say here. Basically, dedicating myself, basically saying, this is my main game. I'm not going to play a multiplayer game. I'm not going to play another match of COD. I'm not going to do the same fucking thing I've been doing in Destiny again. I'm not going to reset. I'm not going to go do all this bullshit that I've done and reset and continued to do, throwing money at this thing that I've done it. I'm not getting anything out of it besides my number growing. And that's when I decided to start beating games. My goal at first was I'm going to create a little text document, a notepad, and I'm going to keep track of the games that I beat from this point forward. And this was in 2020. So I do want to bring up my list real quick because I still have it. So if we go here, go to my 2020 games beaten, we can go here. Now, I don't remember if I was doing this, which order I was doing this. Monster Hunter World might be the last game that I beat in 2020, or it could have been the first game. I don't know. I wasn't really organizing this correctly. I just wrote every game that I got to start to finish, got to the credits, put a ton of time into it, and I felt like I had experienced the game to its fullest, even though there's some Monster Hunter World, you can play the shit out of that. There's a ton of extra stuff you can do. But for me, I hit the credits, I put 100 hours into the game. I felt like I had experienced the game, and I have come to a conclusion of Monster Hunter World. So that's why that's on here. I have games like Dead Rising 1. Pretty sure this was the first time I played through Dead Rising 1. This is a great game, obviously. I'm not going to go through each of these, but we got stuff like Jedi Fallen Order, The Surge, That game's awesome. We got stuff like Tomb Raider, Wolfenstein Youngblood, which is hilarious because that game sucks. Evil Within 2, Doom Eternal, Dark Souls 2, Scholar of the First Sin Edition, Prey, Resident Evil 7, Plants vs. Zombies. Like, I started just blasting through these games. And it was addictive. It was addictive adding to my list. Like, I was like, fuck, okay, I'm actually, like, making progress and experiencing all of these amazing games and, like, getting a compact experience. And that experience will always be there. And I can return to it and get the same, roughly the same experience that I got the first time playing it. If you look back, again, Destiny was a huge part of my life. I played the shit out of the first and second one. Not as much in the second one as I did the first, but I was very big into that. And the game that I played 10 years ago does not exist anymore. There's no way of recapturing that. But if I load up Doom Eternal right now, it's going to be just as fucking amazing as it was the first time I played it. And I started appreciating games more when I, started this journey of finishing games. And I didn't just play like absolute bangers. There were some games, I love me some junk food games. You can see I've got Far Cry New Dawn in here. That's a junk food game. That game is mid, but man, it was just fun to play. I just like shooting stuff. That kind of, I didn't play all these like banging games. Like Rage 2, that game's like extremely mediocre in my opinion. I've played through it twice though. But yeah, and I don't limit myself to new games, PC games only. I just play whatever I'm like, I need to play through this. Games like Castlevania Symphony of the Night. I still remember playing that, played it on an emulator, and it was one of the best games I've ever played. Even playing it in 2020, I was like, this is insane that this came out so long ago. Even games like Mega Man X, which was fucking difficult. Also, I have some games that are like, indie games like Elderborn. There's actually a second one coming out, which is pretty cool. I got like some Modern Warfare campaigns, Hellpoint. This was actually like a prologue to a game, so this one maybe doesn't count, but I put it in there anyway because I saw credits. And then like South Park Fractured Butthole. So I made 35 total games in 2020. Jump it right into 2021. I didn't stop. I kept going, and I was experiencing all of these fucking banger games. I played and finished Witcher 3, which is an insane time sink, but I was dedicated to finishing it. I loved that feeling of experiencing the entire story, start to finish, and getting to see the entire game. I beat Death Stranding for the first time, the very first game. This wasn't the director's cut. This was Monster Energy Drink Death Stranding. I beat that for the first time. I got stuff like Yakuza 0. That was a super long game. Control. I played some, again, like I got Mario 3D World, then I got Bowser's Fury, even though those kind of go together. I was cheating a little bit. Inscription, Industria. There was all types of games that I was playing through the years. But now I really appreciate that I went through and I started keeping track of them. For some reason in 2022, I decided to put the amount of hours to show my degeneracy. I kind of stopped doing that eventually. You can see right here, Destiny 2 Witch Queen campaign, which that's a DLC expansion, but I put 90 hours into it, so I counted that. But yeah, you can scroll down here, see some shit that I've played. It goes Genital Jousting. That was the story campaign. It was about an hour, so that's a bit of a cheat one. Played through all the Fear games. Grounded, Fear 3, that game sucked. Yeah, I played a ton of games. The thing I want to get at with this is I'm not necessarily going for like a particular amount of games per year. I never am like, okay, I need to beat this amount of games this year to beat my amount last year. I usually don't give a fuck about that. I just kind of play whatever comes to mind. I jump between genres constantly. I went from a game like Like a Dragon, Pirate Yakuza in Hawaii to Zombieville USA 3D, which I actually 100%ed. Played Black Myth Wukong one day, played through the entire thing, got all the achievements, masterpiece. Then I played Sly Cooper and the Thievius Raccoonus. Dude, I just jumped around everywhere. And if I'm being honest, like, I can literally pinpoint these games. I remember playing them. It's kind of weird that I remember a lot of these since there's so many, but I don't know, they just stuck with me because I finished them. And with this year, I'm currently looking at possibly my most games I've beaten this year, and a lot of these are pretty big. Been having a blast as usual, but I think what I'm trying to get at, try to finish a game. I know that maybe you don't have the time, maybe you don't want to, and I get that. You don't want to, don't fucking do it. But there's a lot of people I hear that want to, but when they start, you kind of get lazy. I'm sorry. So to kind of push you in the right direction, I think one thing, if you take away from this video, play and finish a game. Do not pick a fucking 60, 70 hour game. Don't say Red Dead Redemption 2 right now. I'm gonna play through the entire fucking Witcher 3. I'm gonna play through Persona 5. Don't pick a game like that, because you're not gonna fucking finish it. You haven't trained. You gotta train your brain to want to finish things and to get that excitement when you finish a game. Don't pick these long fucking games. Pick something like, I don't fucking know. Here's a couple of games that you can beat under 20 hours, and they're like amazing games that you can play start to finish and not have spent too much of your time. These are games that you can beat in some of them under 10 hours, some of them under 20, that I feel are perfect like entry points to start finishing games. Games like BioShock, the first BioShock, games like the original Half-Life, that's a great game. But, you know, these are older games. Maybe you want something newer. God of War 2018. This is a roughly 15-hour-long campaign if you're just playing mainly the story. You've got games like Resident Evil. The Resident Evil games are usually under 10 hours. And I think Resident Evil 7 is more like... Not Resident Evil 7. I think Resident Evil 4 is more like 15 to 20 hours. It's a much bigger game. But still, these are games you can beat in under 20 hours. Arkham Asylum, Devil May Cry 5, Neon White, Rayman Legends, Far Cry 3... Fear, Celeste, Cuphead, Doom Eternal, Dead Space 1 through 3, Deathloop, Max Payne, Psychonauts, Armored Core. These are all games that are not hundreds of hours long. These are much more approachable and beatable games. If you're like concerned about like, I don't have enough time to beat these. These are games that I'm sure you've played more than 20 hours of Counter-Strike or League of Legends or Enter Rocket League, Enter other PvP games. I get it. You want to get better at those games, but you're missing out. You're missing out. Dude, it's like I know the truth and I'm trying to spread the truth and no one will listen, you know? Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance. This game you can beat under 10 hours. It is non-stop nuts to butts. It's amazing. It's an amazing game. Sunset Overdrive, under 20 hours. Cult of the Lamb, that was about 40 hours. That's a little bit more. I think what I'm trying to say is you don't have to pick a game that you're gonna have to dedicate the next month of your life to playing. Pick smaller games. Even though I say small, like, dude, obviously fucking Dead Rising 2 is not small. It's a fantastic, awesome game, but you can beat it in like 10 to 15 hours. Same goes for like a ton of games. For me, gaming's like my main thing. I don't have any other hobbies. I don't give a shit about card games. I don't give a shit about building anything. I don't give a shit about 90% of stuff. Anytime I have free time, I want to be playing a video game. So I'm kind of in a different boat. People have other hobbies and interests, and I get that. However, I really encourage you to just pick a game, finish it, and come back and let me know what you thought. Just be like, hey, this wasn't worth it. This sucked. I'll be like, okay, you could do something else, whatever. But some of you are going to be like, man, I got to see it start to finish. Seeing it all the way through feels so good to be able to be like, all right, that was awesome. That was good. I put it on the shelf in my mind mentally. I put it on the shelf and boom, that's an experience that I had. That game is good. Some of the games I beat, I have no intention of ever replaying, but I'm happy that I finished it. And also, don't focus on new shit. There is an entire like shitload of games that you haven't played that are like, some of these are life-changing games. You may not believe that. You may be like, oh, that's cringe. How can Super Mario Galaxy 2 be life-changing? It's because you haven't played it. You haven't experienced the whimsy and joy and magic of flying through the galaxy as an Italian plumber, collecting little rock candy stars and collecting the big stars. But I know for a fact that you keep your eye on some of these single player games that you could beat, and you're like, fuck, I need to play through that. But you just put it off, continue doing the same game over and over and over again. You know, I'm not saying you need to become me and just beat a shit ton of games, but I think finishing a game every now and then makes you appreciate the game more. But yeah, I'm just yapping. That's gonna do it for this one. Hope you enjoyed. Peace out.